All right, we're gonna start nowish, just to get in before maybe roads get worse. Yeah, but so this is just one quick question. I had kind of inserted this question into like a whole bunch of other questions, but because it kind of fit together. But I figure we can just get this little one done. So the question was Satan a cherubim, seraphim, or archangel? And that's maybe you might have a hard time knowing what any of that means, right? Because what the heck is a seraphim, archangel? One thing to keep in mind is that cherubim and seraphim are actually plural nouns. So it's cherub or a seraph are the singulars. So that's something to know. So what's a seraph? Nobody knows, but we have guesses, even convincing ones. So the word seraph is a verb meaning to burn. So it could be like an angel that's on fire, which is super cool, right? Or more likely, the word seraph is nearly always used in the Old Testament in the context of snakes. So perhaps because the venom gives like a burning sensation. And so it's possible that a seraph has to do with snakes more than it has to do with like being on fire, which might make some more sense. In fact, so this is the place where we see the most about seraphim in the Old Testament. This is Isaiah 6. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Above him stood the seraphim. What are those? I don't know. Each had 6 wings. With 2 he covered his face, with 2 he covered his feet, and with 2 he flew. And one called to another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. Yeah, they have mouths. They have wings. Maybe, do all of them have wings? I don't know. Yeah, and then another place, so this is, then the Lord sent fiery serpents. Fiery, the word for fiery is just seraphim. Interesting. Among the people, and they bit the people so that many people of Israel died. And the people came to Moses and said, We have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against you. Pray to the Lord that he take away the serpents from us. So Moses prayed for the people, and the Lord said to Moses, Make a fiery serpent, seraphim, fiery, and set it on a pole, and everyone who is bitten when he sees it shall live. Interesting, right? So we have a little bit better evidence. This is probably the best evidence for what a seraph is. So this is a seal. So basically what they would do is they'd have what's called a signet ring. And this would have been like one of the high officials of the king in Israel. So they would have a signet ring, and they would press it into wax, and that would make like a stamp that says like, oh, this official like approves this, right? And so this is a stamp that from like the 700s BC, and it says belonging to Ashna, the son of Ahaz. So and that's in Hebrew on like that's Paleo Hebrew, which is like super old Hebrew, and then the thing on top there, which you might recognize a little bit better, is modern Hebrew, which comes from Aramaic, but that's a whole thing. But notice what you see, like what those arrows are pointing to, is to serpents, and so like some of the thought is that perhaps those serpents were seraphim. In fact, going back, this is in Isaiah 6. This whole passage about these seraphim. It's the year that King Uzziah died. Well, who was the king in the year that King Uzziah died? It was Ahaz. So that same king shows up, and perhaps he used seraphim as like part of his imagery in his iconography, which is kind of cool. Yeah, pretty fun. These are, in fact, from like the 8th century BC, there are a lot of like imagery of serpents with wings, and perhaps that's what a seraph is. So it's interesting. Like we have a proposition for what a seraph is, based on etymology, and it kind of fits together with what we found archaeologically. Now, it's possible that those are connected, but it could be that like we would go up to an ancient Israelite and be like, So obviously these are seraphim, right? And they're like, what are you talking about? So who knows? Like, it's an uncertain science, but it's kind of fun. A very convincing guess. Now, what does Satan appear as in the Garden of Eden? A serpent. So I don't know. Could Satan have been a seraph? I don't know. Never thought about it before. But maybe? Weirdly seems to fit. I'm starting to be convinced myself. Huh. So that's my answer to that. What's a cherub? Not a baby angel. So cherubs would have been fearsome and used to guard things. So for instance, in Genesis, he drove out the man, and at the east of the Garden of Eden, he placed the cherubim and a flaming sword that turned every way to guard the way to the tree of life. Them's be some crazy fierce angels. Baby angels. He rode on a cherub and flew. He came swiftly on the wings of the wind. Again, would be weird to ride a baby angel that way. And so the people sent to Shiloh brought them from there the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord of Hosts, who is enthroned on the cherubim. Again, I don't think God sits on a bunch of baby angels. But, oh, whoops, I think I might not have totally finished this. But yeah, so cherubim would have been like basically like giant bull angel things, and they like sit, and so like he rides on the cherubim so that there's like winged bulls. And in fact, we have like, in other temples in the ancient Near East, we have what they call Lamassu bulls, which are like gigantic bull, like statues that were supposed to, yeah. What? No bull. Yeah, exactly. So giant like bull statues that were meant to like guard the temple, which is kind of cool. So the Ark of the Covenant would have had one of those with like wings and stuff. So my guess as to what Satan was, if indeed a seraph is a snake, and Satan was a snake, and Satan was an angel, would be perhaps he was a seraph, but I don't know. So that's kind of fun. And that's the end of that question. I didn't talk about archangels because apparently I didn't finish this one, so. Anyway, maybe next time I'll talk about archangels. See, every time I answer a question, there's a new question. Anyway, yeah, so that's it. We have a whole lot of other questions, but they'll have to wait for January, I guess. But good to see you all, and I'll see you again next time.